The galaxy had been at war for years. Alien empires, once peaceful, now fought for control of territories and resources. Most species believed that war was the only way to maintain power, and the idea of peace seemed distant. Humanity, however, had kept a low profile. Earth had always been considered too far from the center of galactic affairs, its people too weak to play a significant role in the great struggles of the stars. For years, Earth had maintained neutrality, and most believed this would continue, forever. But things began to change when the Zalthorians, a ruthless alien empire with a history of aggressive expansion, attacked a human colony on the edge of Earth's controlled space. The colony was small, mostly inhabited by farmers and scientists, but to Earth it was a crucial part of their presence in the galaxy. The Zalthorians, known for their massive warships and advanced technology, struck without warning. They destroyed the colony within hours, killing everyone inside. News of the attack spread quickly across Earth. The government was in shock. No one had ever expected something like this. Despite their size and strength, humanity had never been seen as a threat by the galaxy's other civilizations. Earth was always on the outside, content to let others fight for power. The humans had kept to themselves, focused on their own problems. Now, the galaxy had come to them, and humanity was being dragged into a war it didn't want to fight. General Anna Hayes, a respected military leader and strategist, was one of the first to recognize the gravity of the situation. She had served in Earth's limited military forces for years, training soldiers but never expecting to lead them in battle. She knew that Earth's defenses were woefully inadequate compared to the powerful empires that surrounded them. Their technology was outdated, and their military was small. The Zalthorians, with their overwhelming firepower, had left Earth's colony in ruins, and they weren't going to stop there. As the government debated how to respond, Anna Hayes took charge. She gathered the leaders of Earth's military, proposing a plan to fight back. "We cannot let this act go unpunished," she said, her voice firm. "We must stand our ground. We must show the galaxy that humanity is not weak. If we don't fight now, we will be crushed." Her words struck a chord with those who still remembered Earth's past strength. Though the world had grown peaceful in recent years, there was a history of war. The human spirit, fierce and unyielding, still burned in the hearts of those who remembered Earth's past conflicts. They had fought for their freedom once before, and now it was time to defend their home again. The government hesitated at first. They knew that sending humanity to war could have disastrous consequences. The galaxy's ruling powers were powerful and vast, and Earth was just a small player in a much larger game. But Anna Hayes was unrelenting. She presented a plan for Earth's defense, a fleet of ships designed to challenge the Zalthorians and their allies. She knew that their existing ships were not enough, but Earth had something else: their determination. Anna's plan was simple. Earth needed to build a fleet, and it needed to be unlike any the galaxy had seen before. Their ships would be built for resilience, capable of taking damage and still fighting back. They would be designed for speed, capable of striking before the enemy had time to react. The galaxy may have thought of humanity as weak, but Earth would show them how wrong they were. The military began to mobilize. Earth's factories, once dedicated to producing everyday goods, were quickly transformed into war machine assembly lines. Scientists, engineers, and soldiers worked together day and night, building ships, weapons, and technology. The process was not without its challenges. Earth had not engaged in large-scale war for centuries, and the design of advanced warships was a daunting task. But humanity's resourcefulness and determination could not be underestimated. One of the key figures in this effort was Captain John Foster, a decorated war hero who had spent years serving in Earth's military. He was known for his tactical brilliance and his ability to inspire those around him. Although he had always focused on training the next generation of soldiers, he found himself thrust into the role of leading the new fleet. John had heard of Anna Hayes, but they had never worked together before. He was impressed by her determination and vision. Together, they would form an unlikely partnership that would change the course of the war. John's expertise in military tactics and Anna's strategic brilliance would prove to be a powerful combination. As Earth's fleet slowly took shape, word of the attack on the colony spread across the galaxy. Alien factions, once content to ignore humanity, began to take notice. Some laughed at the idea of Earth rising to fight. "What can humans do?" they scoffed. "They are nothing compared to the Zalthorians." Many believed that Earth's military would be crushed before it even had a chance to prove itself. But others, particularly those who had seen the devastation of the Zalthorian attack firsthand, began to worry. The humans had always been unpredictable. The last time they had been pushed to fight, they had surprised the entire galaxy with their resilience. No one knew exactly what Earth was capable of, and the growing strength of their fleet made some alien empires nervous. The human military was not as advanced as the Zalthorians, but they had one advantage: determination. Earth had faced countless challenges throughout its history, from natural disasters to wars, and had always managed to survive. This time, it would be no different. The galaxy had underestimated them for too long. General Anna Hayes and Captain John Foster met regularly to discuss strategy and tactics. They knew they were facing a powerful enemy, but they also knew that humans had something that no other species had: hope. The human spirit could not be broken, and they would not go down without a fight. As Earth's new fleet prepared for battle, Anna and John received word that the Zalthorians were on the move. The galaxy watched in anticipation, wondering what would happen next. Would Earth's forces crumble in the face of such overwhelming power, or would they surprise everyone once again? The stage was set. Earth's fight for survival had just begun, and the galaxy was about to find out just how dangerous humanity could be when pushed to its limits. No one expected what was coming next. The human fleet was growing. The work was tireless, and every day seemed like a race against time. The factories on Earth were now dedicated to nothing but the production of warships and weapons. The sight of workers, scientists, and engineers pouring their efforts into creating something powerful and dangerous gave humanity a new sense of purpose. For the first time in decades, Earth was united under a single goal: survival. General Anna Hayes had made sure that every ship was built, for both strength and speed. While Earth's military technology might not have been as advanced as the Zalthorians, humans had learned to adapt quickly. Their designs were based on years of engineering, taking into account everything they had learned about combat, defense, and attack. No ship was going to be just another target. Every ship would be a challenge for any enemy. Captain John Foster, now tasked with leading this growing fleet, was determined to make sure that Earth's ships could stand toe-to-toe with the greatest military forces in the galaxy. He had been leading Earth's military for years, but never had he faced anything this challenging. As the fleet's commander, John knew he would be expected to fight not just for victory, but for the survival of humanity itself. One of the most critical parts of Earth's military development was the crew. Earth didn't have experienced space fighters like the Zalthorians or the other alien factions, but the human soldiers had something no one else could match: determination. Many of the soldiers in the new fleet had never been to war. They were ordinary people from every corner of Earth: farmers, teachers, scientists, and even athletes. Now they were preparing to defend their home against an invasion force that had already proven its strength by destroying one of Earth's colonies. Captain Foster spent long hours training them. He knew that the success of the fleet depended not just on the ships or the weapons, but on the people who would fly them. In these quiet moments, he would often reflect on how quickly everything had changed. Just months ago, the humans were living peacefully, oblivious to the storm gathering in the galaxy. Now, they were on the brink of war. As the days went by, news of the human preparations spread across the galaxy. At first, many alien factions laughed at the idea of humans fighting back. "They are too weak," they said. "They will never stand a chance against the Zalthorians." But as Earth's fleet grew stronger, whispers of doubt began to spread among the more cautious factions. The Zalthorians had made a fatal mistake by attacking the human colony, and now they had awakened something in humanity that no one had expected. The alien empire that had always mocked humanity's insignificance began to take notice. The Zalthorians were ruthless warriors, but their arrogance had blinded them. They had assumed that Earth would crumble under their attack, but instead they had sparked something fierce and untamable. Earth's leadership knew this would be no easy fight. The Zalthorians were experienced warriors, and their fleet was vast and well-armed. Yet the humans had something to prove. They had to show the galaxy that they were more than just a peaceful race. They had to show them that humanity was a force to be reckoned with. Among the galaxy's other powers, there were mixed reactions to Earth's growing strength. Some saw it as an opportunity. A few of the lesser-known factions had suffered under the rule of the Zalthorians, and began to wonder if Earth could be a potential ally in their struggle for freedom. A few diplomatic envoys were sent to Earth to discuss the possibility of alliances. They didn't trust the humans yet, but they saw potential in their newfound power. However, not all the alien powers were so open to the idea of Earth as a rising force. The Galactic Council, a collective of the galaxy's most influential empires, was unsure of how to handle the situation. The humans were unpredictable, and they had already proven that they could build a fleet far stronger than expected. The Council was worried that Earth might tip the balance of power in the galaxy. For Earth's part, General Hayes and Captain Foster knew that they couldn't trust anyone but themselves. They had to prepare for the Zalthorians alone. They couldn't rely on others to fight their battles. If the galaxy would not stand with them, they would stand on their own. The soldiers training for the upcoming conflict were becoming more skilled every day. While many had no military experience, their adaptability was astounding. Humans could learn quickly, and they had a knack for thinking on their feet. As the days turned into weeks, the soldiers grew more confident. They weren't just building ships. They were becoming warriors, ready to defend their home at any cost. In the midst of this, Captain John Foster met with General Anna Hayes to discuss the next phase of their strategy. The fleet was nearly ready, but they still had to consider how to deal with the Zalthorians' overwhelming numbers. Foster had spent years studying their tactics, and he knew they could be ruthless, but he also knew that humans had the advantage of surprise. "We may not have the numbers, Anna," John said, looking over the schematics of the fleet. "But we have something they don't. We know how to fight when the odds are stacked against us. We've been doing it our whole history." Anna nodded, her eyes steely with resolve. "And we'll keep them guessing. Our ships aren't like theirs. They're fast, they're tough, and we know how to use them in ways they can't predict. If we play this right, we'll make them think twice about underestimating humanity, the I." Tension between Earth and the Zalthorians continued to grow as both sides prepared for the inevitable confrontation. The alien empire watched as the human fleet took shape, but they had no idea how dangerous humanity had become. They had thought of Earth as an insignificant outpost, a place too far from the heart of the galaxy to be of any importance. Now, Earth was proving them wrong. As the final pieces of Earth's fleet were completed, Anna and John stood together, watching the ships leave the docks for the first time. They had come a long way, and the war was now inevitable. The entire galaxy was watching, unsure of what would happen next. Would the humans be crushed by the overwhelming forces of the Zalthorians? Or would they prove that even the smallest spark could ignite a blaze that would change the galaxy forever? The ships lifted into space, their engines roaring to life. For the first time in centuries, humanity was not just surviving. They were ready to fight, and they weren't going to let anyone stand in their way. The time had come. After weeks of preparation, Earth's fleet was ready. It was no longer just an idea or a dream of survival. It was a reality. The ships, built with the best technology Earth could muster, were lined up in Earth's orbit, waiting for the order to depart. General Anna Hayes stood before the assembled fleet, her eyes scanning the ships that would carry humanity into its first real battle. She felt the weight of the moment. Earth had never been involved in a galactic conflict of this scale. She knew the risks. She knew that if they failed, Earth could be wiped off the map. But she also knew that failure was not an option. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. This was their chance to show the galaxy who they truly were. Captain John. Foster stood beside her, watching as the final preparations were made. His face was calm, but he could feel the nervous energy that buzzed around them. The crew members, soldiers, and engineers had all worked tirelessly for this moment. Now, it was time to prove that humanity could stand tall among the stars. "General," John said, his voice steady but serious, "the Zalthorians will not be expecting us to strike first. That's our advantage." Anna nodded, her gaze fixed on the fleet. "We'll strike fast, and we'll hit hard. We need to keep them off balance. Let them think we're just another weak species. Let them laugh. But we'll make them regret it." The fleet was ready. It consisted of several ships, each with a different purpose. Some were designed for combat, others for support, and some for defense. But all were built to work together as one. The humans had studied the tactics of their enemies, and they had learned how to adapt. They knew that the Zalthorians would rely on their size and strength, but the humans would use their speed and agility to outmaneuver them. As the fleet moved into the stars, the crew members aboard each ship were focused on the task at hand. They were all nervous, but they were determined. This was not just a battle for survival, it was a chance to prove humanity's strength to the entire galaxy. The Zalthorians, meanwhile, had not expected Earth to react so quickly. They had assumed that Earth would be a soft target, easily subdued, with one swift blow, but the humans were proving them wrong. The Zalthorian fleet, composed of massive warships with advanced weaponry, was still in position, unaware of the human fleet's approach. The first engagement happened just outside a small moon in a nearby system. The humans had carefully selected the location, using the moon's shadow to hide their movements. The Zalthorians were still focused on Earth's defenses, unaware that the humans had already set their plan in motion. The human fleet dropped out of warp speed just beyond the moon's orbit. The Zalthorians, caught off guard, barely had time to react as the humans unleashed their first strike. Captain Foster's ship, the Vanguard, led the charge, its powerful cannons firing in quick succession. The Zalthorian ships were slow to respond, their enormous size hindering their ability to maneuver. It was exactly what the humans had hoped for. On board the Vanguard, Captain Foster barked orders, guiding his crew through the chaos of the battle. The humans were using their smaller, faster ships to their advantage, darting in and out of the larger Zalthorian vessels, attacking from unexpected angles. It was a strategy that few had expected, but it was proving effective. "Keep them off balance," Foster ordered. "We hit hard, then we move. Don't give them a chance to catch us." Anna, watching from Earth's command center, knew that the fleet was in full swing. The battle was chaotic, but it was exactly the type of fight they had prepared for. The Zalthorians were powerful, but they were not invincible. Their reliance on overwhelming force was their weakness, and the humans had learned how to exploit that. Back on the front lines, the humans were making their mark. A group of Zalthorian warships tried to surround the Vanguard, but the human ship turned sharply, firing at its pursuers with precision. The Zalthorian ships, too large and slow to react, were caught in the crossfire. Explosions rang out as the Vanguard tore through their defenses. Anna could feel the excitement building in. The command center. "Keep pushing," she urged, her voice calm but filled with intensity. "This is our chance. We can't let up." The battle raged on for hours. The Zalthorians, initially confident in their overwhelming strength, began to realize they were facing something different. The humans weren't fighting like anyone they had encountered before. The Zalthorian commanders tried to regroup, sending reinforcements to help, but every time they tried to organize, the humans were already gone, striking elsewhere. As the hours passed, the Zalthorian fleet began to break apart. The humans weren't just attacking. They were outsmarting their enemies, using tactics that the Zalthorians had not expected. It wasn't just brute strength. It was precision, speed, and intelligence. The Zalthorians had underestimated humanity, and now they were paying the price. The human success was undeniable. Earth's fleet had struck with incredible force, and the Zalthorians had not been able to mount an effective counterattack. Their massive warships were no match for the smaller, more agile human ships that darted in and out of the fight, each strike calculated and swift. On the vanguard, Captain Foster gave a grim smile as he surveyed the damage to the Zalthorian fleet. "We've got them on the ropes," he muttered to himself. He knew they couldn't keep up this pace forever, but the victory was within reach. If they pushed just a little harder, they could break the Zalthorians for good. Anna, watching the battle unfold from Earth's command center, couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. Humanity was proving its strength, and it was doing so with strategy, skill, and determination. The galaxy had always looked down on Earth, thinking the humans were nothing more than a primitive species. Now, they were showing the galaxy just how wrong they were. The battle was reaching its peak. The Zalthorians were beginning to retreat, their warships limping back to their home base, unable to keep up with the humans' relentless attacks. The remaining Zalthorian forces tried to regroup, but it was clear the humans had won. The Zalthorian fleet was shattered, and Earth's fleet had come through victorious. As the battle came to an end, Captain Foster stood on the bridge of the vanguard, watching the last Zalthorian ships retreat. "We did it," he said quietly, though there was no joy in his voice. There was only the recognition of a hard-fought victory. On Earth, the entire planet was watching the outcome. News of the victory spread quickly, and people across the globe cheered. For the first time in human history, Earth had won a battle in the stars. It was a moment of triumph, but it was also a reminder. The war had only just begun. As General Anna Hayes looked out across the Earth's command center, she knew this was only the beginning. The Zalthorians had been beaten, but there were more. Threats out there, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Earth had proven its strength, and now the galaxy would learn to fear the humans. No one would ever underestimate them again. In the aftermath of the victory, the galaxy was in shock. Earth, a once peaceful and seemingly weak planet, had proven itself capable of defeating one of the most powerful alien empires in existence. The Zalthorians, whose arrogance had led them to attack Earth's colony, had been forced to retreat, leaving behind a broken fleet and shattered pride. The humans had not only survived, they had triumphed. But as the celebrations echoed through Earth's cities, General Anna Hayes and Captain John Foster knew that this was just the beginning. The galaxy was changing, and Earth would now play a central role in the future of the stars. The human fleet, though victorious, had suffered losses. Several ships had been damaged in the battle, and many of their crews were exhausted from the long hours of fighting. But the morale of the human forces was higher than ever. The victory had shown them that they were capable of more than anyone had believed. Earth was no longer just a bystander in the galactic struggle. It was a player and a force to be reckoned with. "We've made our mark," Captain Foster said, his voice filled with both pride and caution as he looked over the fleet's status reports. "But we can't stop here. We've shaken the Zalthorians, but there are still other factions out there that will see us as a threat. We need to be ready." Anna nodded, her eyes scanning the data coming in from Earth's command center. The Zalthorians may be down, but they're not out. We've made enemies, and we've earned their respect. Some will want to ally with us, but others will come for us with everything they have." While the humans celebrated their victory, Earth's leaders gathered to discuss what came next. The galaxy's ruling council, made up of the most powerful empires in the stars, had been watching closely. Many had underestimated humanity, believing the humans would fall before the Zalthorians' might. Now, Earth's unexpected victory had thrown the balance of power into disarray. It was clear that the galaxy would never view Earth the same way again. Among the factions most concerned by Earth's rise was the Galactic Council itself. Their alliance had always relied on the dominance of a few powerful empires, each keeping the others in check. But now, with Earth's unexpected strength, their fragile peace was in danger. The Council, made up of representatives from many different species, called for an emergency meeting. They had to decide what to do about Earth, and fast. The Council was not united. Some saw the humans' victory as a sign that they could be useful allies, while others saw them as a dangerous new rival. A few of the smaller factions, who had long suffered under the rule of the Zalthorians and other powerful empires, began to wonder if Earth could be the key to their freedom. They saw in the humans the potential to challenge the galaxy's established powers. As discussions in the Galactic Council grew heated, General Hayes and Captain Foster prepared for what would come next. They knew that they could not rely on the galaxy's powers to decide their fate. The humans had earned their victory, but they would have to fight for their place in the stars. "We've proven we can fight," Anna said to John. "But now we need to prove that we can lead. We can't wait for the Council to decide our future. We need to take control." Earth's government, led by a coalition of military and civilian leaders, had begun to prepare for the next phase of their strategy. Earth's fleet, though small, in comparison to the combined forces of the galaxy, had proven that it was capable of taking on far larger enemies. They had proven that they could fight, but they would need more than just military strength to win the peace. Anna and John knew that Earth's next move had to be one of diplomacy as well as military might. If they were to survive in this new, dangerous galaxy, they would need to make alliances. But they would also have to be ready to fight again. The Zalthorians were not the only threat humanity would face. Meanwhile, the Zalthorians, humiliated by their defeat, had begun to regroup. They had lost face in front of the entire galaxy, and their leadership was in turmoil. But one thing was certain: the Zalthorians would not rest until they had taken revenge on Earth. They had underestimated humanity once, and they would not make that mistake again. Back in Earth's command center, the humans were preparing for their next move. The fleet had been strengthened and repairs were underway on the damaged ships, but they knew that time was of the essence. The longer they waited, the stronger their enemies would become. They needed to act quickly. John Foster gathered his senior officers to discuss their next steps. "We've made a lot of enemies, and some of them are bigger and stronger than we are. But we've got something they don't have: the will to fight. We're not just defending Earth anymore, we're defending humanity, and we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure we're never threatened again." The meeting was filled with a renewed sense of purpose. The crew members, once unsure of their ability to win, were now confident. The victory over the Zalthorians had proven that humans could stand up to the galaxy's most powerful forces. But they knew the hardest. Battles were still ahead. The Zalthorians were only the beginning. "We can't rest on our laurels," General Hayes said, addressing the room. "We've shown that we can fight, but we need to prove we can lead. We need to start making alliances. We need to show the galaxy that we're not just a threat. We're a force for change. We've been underestimated for too long, and now it's time for us to take our place among the stars." As Earth's fleet prepared for the next phase of the war, Anna and John knew that they had to be ready for whatever came next. The Zalthorians were regrouping, and new threats were emerging. But the humans had something that no one else had: the determination to never give up. They had come so far, and they weren't about to stop now. The future of the galaxy was uncertain, and Earth's place in it was still to be decided. But one thing was clear. The galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again. They had proven themselves, and now they would forge their own path, one that would change the galaxy forever. The tension in the galaxy was palpable. After Earth's unexpected victory over the Zalthorians, other factions began to take notice. The battle had shown that humanity was not to be underestimated. The Zalthorians, though defeated, were not going to forget the loss. Their pride had been wounded, and their leaders were determined to restore their reputation by wiping out humanity once and for all. General Anna Hayes stood at the head of Earth's command center, looking at the massive star maps displayed before her. The lines of military alliances, the locations of various fleets, and the growing threat of retaliation from the Zalthorians were all visible in the data. She had always known this moment would come, the point when the galaxy would see if humanity could truly survive among the stars. Now, she was certain it was time for the final showdown. "Captain Foster," Anna said, turning to the man who had led humanity's first victory, "the Zalthorians are not going to stop. We've pushed them back once, but they'll regroup and come at us with everything they have. We need to be ready for their next attack." Foster nodded, his face stern as he studied the maps alongside her. "I agree. We've seen their strength and we know they'll come back stronger, but we've got something they don't. We've proven we can outmaneuver them. We've proven we can think on our feet. Now we need to finish this." Earth's fleet was stronger than it had been at the beginning of the war. The human ships had undergone constant improvements, using the knowledge they'd gained from their previous battles. Their tactics were sharper, and their resolve was stronger. However, the Zalthorians had more resources and numbers. The only way to overcome this advantage was for humanity to make the first strike before the Zalthorians could fully regroup. After much deliberation, the decision was made. The humans would strike at the Zalthorians' homeworld, taking the fight to the heart of the enemy's power. It was a bold and risky move, but Anna and John knew it was the only way to truly end the conflict. By striking at their home, the humans would force the Zalthorians to the negotiating table or destroy them completely. As Earth's fleet prepared for the mission, anxiety mixed with excitement. The men and women who had fought so hard to get to this point were now staring down the galaxy's most powerful enemy. They knew that what they were about to do could decide the fate of their planet and their place in the galaxy. Captain Foster addressed the crew before departure, standing tall before his team, each one of them focused and determined. "This isn't just about Earth anymore. It's about humanity's future. We've shown the galaxy that we are not a species to be pushed around. We've proven that we can fight, and we've proven that we can win. Now it's time to finish what we started. We take the fight to their doorstep." The crew cheered, the energy in the room palpable. Humanity's first interstellar war had been full of surprises, but now they were about to face the biggest challenge of all. The Zalthorians had underestimated humanity once, and now Earth was prepared to make them regret it. The fleet entered warp speed, their destination set, the heart of Zalthorian space. The journey would take them through dangerous territories, controlled by rival factions who had been watching Earth's rise with both curiosity and fear. Some may be allies, while others would undoubtedly try to sabotage Earth's mission. But Anna and John knew that they couldn't afford to trust anyone else. They had to rely on themselves. As the fleet approached Zalthorian space, the tension was thick. Ships from other galactic powers, recognizing the movement of Earth's fleet, began to move into position. Some factions sought to stop Earth, believing it was dangerous to let humans gain too much power, while others stayed out of the conflict, uncertain of which side would ultimately emerge victorious. "We're "On our own in this," General Hayes said, her voice resolute as she watched the stars streak by outside the command center. "We've earned this fight. Let's make sure we win it." As Earth's fleet drew closer to the Zalthorian homeworld, a message arrived from the enemy. The Zalthorian warlord, leader of their empire, sent a final warning to Earth. "Humans," the message began, "you have dared to defy us. You have shown your strength, but it is nothing compared to the power of the Zalthorian Empire. You will fall, and your pitiful resistance will be crushed. Surrender now, and perhaps we will spare your planet. Refuse, and we will obliterate your kind once and for all." The message was blunt, but Anna saw it for what it was. A last-ditch attempt to intimidate Earth into submission. The Zalthorians had no intention of negotiating. They wanted to break humanity's spirit and crush them for good. But Anna knew better. "We'll never surrender," she said, her voice firm. "Not now, not ever." The fleet reached the Zalthorian homeworld, a massive planet surrounded by a fleet of warships. The battle was inevitable. Earth's ships, now ready for the fight, launched their assault. The Zalthorians responded with their full force, their massive warships moving in formation to crush Earth's smaller fleet. But this time, the humans were prepared. "Remember the strategy," Captain Foster commanded. "We strike fast, we strike hard, and we keep them off balance. They're used to overwhelming force, but they've never seen a fight like this." The battle erupted in space. The Zalthorian ships, enormous and heavily armored, moved toward Earth's fleet. But the humans, using their smaller, faster ships, darted in and out of the larger enemy vessels, striking with precision and speed. Earth's fleet had the advantage of maneuverability. Each ship was built for speed and resilience, and the humans used their agility to hit the Zalthorians where they least expected it. The Zalthorians were caught off guard. Their massive ships were powerful, but slow. The humans, using clever tactics, attacked from unexpected angles, causing confusion in the Zalthorian ranks. Every strike they made felt like a hammer blow, chipping away at the enemy's strength. General Hayes coordinated the attack from Earth's command center, watching as the battle unfolded. "Keep pushing," she urged her fleet. "We've come too far to let them win. This is our moment." As the battle raged on, the Zalthorians began to falter. Their ships were being damaged, and their commanders struggled to maintain control. Earth's fleet had not only held its own, it was winning. The Zalthorians, who had once thought humanity weak, now saw the full extent of their strength. In a final push, Captain Foster led his ship directly into the heart of the Zalthorian fleet. With a roar, the Vanguard fired its full arsenal, taking down the flagship of the Zalthorian Empire. The impact was massive, and the Zalthorians knew they had lost their command center. The remaining forces began to retreat, but the humans were relentless. "We've done it," Foster said, his voice calm but filled with pride. "The Zalthorians are broken. This war is over." Back on Earth, the news of their victory spread quickly. Humanity had done what no one thought possible. They had defeated one of the greatest powers in the galaxy. It was a victory that would be remembered for generations. General Anna Hayes stood before her fleet, knowing that this battle had secured Earth's place in the galaxy. The humans had proven their strength, and they had shown the galaxy that they would no longer be ignored. The war was over, but Earth's future had just begun.